What's the deal, YouTube? It's your girl, Miss Honey. Welcome back to my channel. You guys already know what this is. This is Real Housewives of Potomac, Season 2, Episode 9, A Host of Issues. We're going to go ahead and get right into this episode, but before we do, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. I would love to have you as a member of my tribe, and I promise you won't regret it. As well as hit that like button, give me a thumbs up, let me know you like my content. It's really important to rate our channels and let YouTube know what content you really do enjoy. So if you enjoy this review, you enjoy all my past reviews, and you're excited about upcoming reviews, go ahead and hit that like button, as well as that notification bell. That notification bell lets you know when I come out with new videos, okay? So without further ado, let's get into this episode, A Host of Issues. And we're going to go character by character. I don't think the scenes were necessarily important in terms of layout as much as the dialogue. So let's talk about it. We're going to talk about Ashley and Michael first. Ashley is at the restaurant and she is going through the comment cards from her big critics event, and she's gotten some really good feedback, some very positive feedback, and she got some super constructive criticism. So we think that this whole event was a success, as well as Americanizing the menu a little bit has turned out to be a really good idea. In walks Michael, and of course he wants to apologize for his part in his behavior in sabotaging the event, because he wasn't his most supportive, and he did pick the most inopportune time to act like a donkey. Okay, so he apologizes for that, and she accepts his apology, but she does say if he does continue to discount her, it's going to be a problem, and I think it should be a problem. One thing we need to remember is that Michael has already lived a good deal of his life, and he's already at a place where he knows what he likes and what he doesn't like, and what he wants and what he doesn't want. Okay, who he wants to be, he's pretty much established that. Ashley is much younger, and therefore her life and who she is and who she really wants to be, outside of her foundational principles, is still evolving, because a lot of who we are in our 30s and our 40s and then our 50s and our 60s is because of that whole journey, and she doesn't have the mileage and the experience in the journey in order to say this is exactly what I want to do for the rest of my life, which is why their relationship eventually is going to be an issue. As long as she keeps growing and changing, they're going to have issues in their marriage, especially if he is happy with who he is and where he is and what he is, and doesn't want to grow and change with her. She is going to pass him by leaps and bounds, and I think we're starting to see a little bit of it, because later on we see them go on a little date together to a pottery class where they're learning how to do pottery. And they have a little banter, but it's nothing like the banter they were having when they were super happy in season 1. And they were screwing like rabbits all the time, okay? Now it's very, trepidatious. It's very, I don't want to step on anyone's toes. And she is at a place where she wants to speak out. She wants to say what it is she wants and what it is she does not accept. And it's throwing him off. She asks him, hey, I know we love each other, but do you think we're still in love? And he's just like, why are we, he just looks a little stunned, because this is your, second or third reveal that this is not the sweet little innocent, naive, wide-eyed party girl that you married. Like, she's coming into her own, and she's realizing maybe this is not something she could do for the long haul. She's just trying to see, is this something I can do for the long haul? And he says, well, of course I love you. And, you know, she says, you know, of course, I love him too. I'm in love with Michael, you know, still. I just wanted to know what's going on between us because things have been so difficult. As well as he decides that he says, well, you know, I know we agreed that the restaurant, you know, needed to break even before we could start having children. And she was like, yeah, well, hold that thought because I'm not really sure children is the best thing for our relationship right now, considering what we're going through as a couple. And he's a little thrown off about that too. He's just like, wait. I'm losing control here. And you can see that flushed look on his face like, this is getting away from me here. This is not what I intended. Like, I didn't intend for us to break up and not be together. No. I just thought we would just argue and you would just get back on the track I had you on. But no, here you are willy-nilly trying to do your own thing, and I'm a little afraid. That's what his face looked like. And it is brought up to Robyn a couple of times during the events of this episode that Michael is usually always with her, but he was not with her for several events this episode. So the girls are noticing. Okay, you guys, let's talk about Karen. Karen's house sold. Overseas investor bought the property all cash. Now they've got to get out, but first they've got to find a house. And they've looked at several homes, either to lease because they've got to leave right away, or to do a short sale or something like that. And, you know, Ray is looking at the property and all of that. And, you know, she's super excited about the cash offer, but at the same time, she doesn't want to budge at all. They're leaving Potomac. They're going 20 minutes away, and she feels like she can be grand dame anywhere, so they don't necessarily need a house in Potomac. Now, the reason why this is suspicious is because if you go back to season 2, being in Potomac is everything. Okay, especially to Karen. So it's a little odd that now she's going just outside of Potomac. And also that they're renting a house. Like it doesn't fit into the grand dame scheme, in other words. So we're gonna eventually get into the bottom of what's going on with Karen, probably next episode. But we also see that Karen has decided that she is the leader of the girls, that she is the pillar of the girls' relationship. All of the girls are supposed to come to her for advice, and she's supposed to be an example of what a lady and what a grand dame is supposed to be to the ladies. And she doesn't want Charrisse to hone in on that. Charrisse needs something to stay busy and stay focused on outside of Eddie. And Karen is constantly this episode letting Charrisse know, this my thing, this what I'm doing, don't get into it. Because they decide that they're going to take up everybody, all the girls are going to go to Bermuda, and Karen wants to host it. And so when she goes over to Charisse's house to talk to her about, you know, moving and what's going on and all of this little chitter chatter, Charrisse goes ahead and lets her know that, you know, lets us know in the confessional that it is very odd that Karen is trying to plan a trip and she needs to be looking for a house, you know, and what's going on with Karen trying to leave Potomac, and what's going on with her talking about renting a house. Like, it's all pretty suspicious, not because they counting Karen's money necessarily, but because y'all should have seen Karen season 1. Like, she was the cat's meow. She was Potomac's, you know, love child, mascot. She was Miss Potomac. So that was odd. So when Karen mentions the trip, she says, you know, maybe we can go to this place or that place. And Charrisse mentions Bermuda because she had been several times. She loves it. And Karen's like, great, Bermuda's a good idea. So later on, when they are telling all the ladies about this is what we're going to do, we're going to go to Bermuda. When they were all together as a group, Karen makes the announcement that she has decided that she's going to host a trip to Bermuda. And Charrisse is like, wait a minute, it wasn't your idea about Bermuda, it was my idea, and I thought we were co-hosting. And Karen just gets out of sorts. Like, they have this major conversation that was nice, nasty at Monique's daughter's birthday party about Charrisse knowing her place and being dry and having a dry idea and stay in your dry lane, you know. And Charrisse is like, what you need to be worried about is, you know, finding you a home. I'm not sure why you got all this time to be planning this elaborate trip to Bermuda. It's basically when they met a little bit later after the child's birthday party and talked about it, trying to plan the trip. And Charrisse was like, I've been there many times. I know about Bermuda. I could do this in my sleep. And Karen's like, this is my thing. It's my event. But more importantly, I want to make sure that we are an example for the girls. And she still tells Charrisse that she can host one day and Karen will host one day, and they'll do it that way, but she doesn't really need to co-host. In other words, I want to be recognized as the great one. I don't want you to take any of my light, Charrisse. It's dumb, it's petty, and it is proof that the both of them are focused on things other than what they should be focused on, because they could have just got an event planner from the Bermuda to hook them up. So it was redundant. We see Monique, and Monique is having a birthday party for her daughter. First, before we get into that, let's talk about Monique and Gizelle together. Karen once again decides to bring the ladies together. Karen and she brings Gizelle and Monique together to have a conversation at lunch. And unbeknownst to Karen, Monique brings Charrisse. And Karen's not happy with that either. She feels like, I'm the peacemaker. There's really no need for you to be here, Charrisse, inputting in this conversation. But Monique shares with the ladies that Charrisse knows her the best out of all of them, and so she thought it would be a good idea to bring her to the sit down with Gizelle. From the rip, off from go, before Monique even get there, Gizelle tells Karen that everything will be fine as long as Monique apologizes. And I didn't understand that, because I felt like you guys both owe each other an apology for one thing or another, and the fact that you feel like that she need to come and kiss your feet and kiss the ring, Gizelle, just makes you seem that much more of a witch, in my opinion. And I use the W real loosely there. But yeah, it's a lot of stuff I don't like about Gizelle, and it just get worse with each episode. You don't feel like you owe nobody an apology, Gizelle, and then you sat at that dinner and you were so dismissive and so confrontational when that girl mapped out point by point by point to you each episode where y'all did not get along, and she tried to include you, she tried to bring it back in line, she tried to talk with you, and so on and so forth, and how you just came against her every step, how you just kept going on and on with this hate Monique rant, you know. And Gizelle just looked at her with that dumb, stupid, yeah, really, tell me more look on her face. Like, really. I mean, she just kept eating, like, okay, really, really. Like, so you don't see your place in this at all? You don't see any place where you can say, I was wrong, you're right, maybe I didn't handle that better? No, she's not giving her 1 inch. She really thinks this girl needs to bow down and kiss her ring. She really thinks she is hazing this girl. She does. She really does. And it just makes Gizelle that much more unlikable, in my opinion. I did not like the way them tracks was in her head, and that her real hair was trying to be pulled over them tracks. I didn't like that. And Gizelle, I didn't see where she had any room whatsoever to be anything other than nice and gracious. I still don't. And she ended up really kind of pissing Monique off. One, because she was being super dismissive, and two, because she wasn't really acknowledging anything. I mean, she would talk to Karen, but she wouldn't necessarily talk to Monique. And Monique's sitting right there, and she would talk to Karen about Monique, and Monique's sitting right there. And then the straw that broke the camel's back was when Charrisse was trying to kind of squash it, which was pissing Karen off, because Karen was like, this is my sit down. And Monique was getting upset because I guess they were sharing an appetizer or something. And Gizelle got a spoonful of something, and she's talking with the fork full of food, but she's pointing at Monique. She's just giving her a little, what you did was such and such and such. I was like, ooh, girl. You working on getting windmill. Just straight windmill. Yeah. You working on getting windmilled up in this piece, ma'am. Very dismissive. Very, very dismissive. Not one iota of give. That's why I say I would love to know what kind of first lady she was. I really do. Because this lady right here could not have led a congregation of women. Absolutely not. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. It was a disaster. They got absolutely nowhere. And Charrisse ended up crying and making it all about herself. And that's something we talked about this episode, was that, she was trying to sort of take the reins and take, and make things more about her. I need you guys to be friends for me because I need friends right now. And she started to cry. And then, it was... Later on, we see Chris and Monique now talking and planning their daughter's 1-year-old birthday party. She spent $30,000 on this party. There is a petting zoo. There is face and body painting. There is performers. It is also her baby's second dedication, I think. They've already had the baby. This is the rededication of the baby. And it's at their lake house. She has invited everyone but Gizelle. And everyone comes but Gizelle. We get to the party and we see that Charrisse is there first. She has older kids. Then in walks Ashley. Ashley seems like she's very enamored with this little baby. Her little daughter Melanie is really, really a beautiful little girl. And in comes Robyn. Of course, Robyn is super nice, super sweet to everybody. She's got her 2 little boys, and they enjoy playing and having a good time. And they all had an amazing time. They all came together. They all seemed to converse. And this is where we see this big sort of blow up between Karen and Charrisse about who's hosting Bermuda. And I think everybody's kind of starting to notice that something is going on with Karen. Like she is projecting, so to speak, in a lot of ways. Let's see, who else did we talk about? We talked about Gizelle. Gizelle and Robyn meet up. So let's just talk about Robyn. Robyn met with a therapist, and it was a good moment, I think. And the more I watch Robyn, the more I realize that in actuality, I think Robyn is holding Juan hostage. I mentioned that on Beautiful Soul. Hey, beautiful. I mentioned that. I can't remember where we talked about it at. But I think she's holding him hostage. I do. I think that because she said that they were married, they've been together since high school. This is a story she tells, and it makes it kind of seem like, they've been married forever, but they were only married for 7 years, all right? Which is nothing to snub your nose at, but still, 7 years. And after they divorced, he left for a year, and because of emotional support, he came back. I'm like, emotional support or financial support? Come on now, Robyn. Emotional support for you? I said to myself, I dollars to donuts. Dollars to donuts. This man is ready to go, and she is holding him in this position in whatever way she knows how. I mean, to me, she is the brains behind the marriage. It doesn't seem like he has any idea of the inner workings of what goes on behind the scenes in this marriage. And it seems like, to me, she's in complete control of that. So yeah, I could see how he would feel a certain amount of obligation to stay there, considering she is, she's the brain trust behind the whole relationship. And yeah, that's apparent to me, because it was like pulling teeth to get her to say that she wanted love, if she was open to receiving love from someone else outside of Juan. And she said that being with Juan makes her feel safe, and she says she had trust issues, and she has trust issues with getting with other men and all of this. And she says, do you want love from someone else? And Robyn eventually says yes. And she gives her homework, which I thought was great. Most importantly, to date twice. Also to define, what trust is to her, and name some incidences where she has had complete trust, I think. So it was a good moment. We see where Gizelle and Robyn meet up, and they talk about the party that Gizelle was not invited to. And Gizelle just goes ahead and says, oh, I'm glad I wasn't invited, because if I was invited, then I would have had to tell her no, because evidently she is, what she say, she's a Gizelle hater. And Gizelle, when Robyn first told her about, she thought that the party was a phenomenal party, and then she thought Gizelle girls would have enjoyed it. Her boys had a ball. You could see on Gizelle's face that she hated that she wasn't invited. Gizelle, you're a hater. You jelly, baby. You jelly, Gizelle. They also talk about Karen and Charrisse and this whole big hosting blow up type thing. So that's it, you guys. That is Real Housewives of Potomac in a nutshell. Like I said, it wasn't a lot, but it was a lot going on. Next week is going to be really, really good. We're going to get some hot mic talk from Karen, which should be really, really fun. From what I could see from the previews for next week, there's going to be a lot of 4-letter words coming from the Grand Dame. So I'm excited about that. What do you guys think about Gizelle? I mean, I've seen people ride really, really hard for Gizelle, and I am not sure why, when Gizelle has no budge and no give. I promise you guys, honestly, I couldn't have a friend like Gizelle in my circle and call her friend. Like, I would keep it cordial with her, but I would keep it moving past her. And she would never be invited to my home. I don't like for people who are, who don't have a sense of decorum when it comes to talking about people they consider their friend. And Gizelle talk about everybody, really. But the way she treat Monique, I think, is disgusting. I think it's high schoolish, and I won't say she's a bully, but she is definitely Giselle is sedity. Now, when the last time y'all heard sedity? Giselle is sedity, and she really don't have no reason to be sedity at all. Okay, so that's it. You guys let me know what you thought about Gizelle. What do you guys think about Ashley and Michael? You agree with me that she may be outgrowing him and evolving still in her own life, and therefore, maybe setting up an anchor in this marriage with Michael wasn't the smartest thing, considering she doesn't really even fully know who she is and what she wants to be and what she wants to do herself. You know what I mean? What do you guys think about Karen? Why is Karen trying to get out of Potomac? What's going on with Karen's finances, you guys? What's happening? Charrisse gonna get into it. Y'all know Ashley is a below the belt arguer, but Charrisse is the queen of below the belt arguing, okay? And we are gonna see it next week, and I'm super duper excited about it, you guys. That's it for the Real Housewives of Potomac. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Please, let's continue the discussion down below in the comment section. Until next time, honeybees. Mwah.